Hey Peter, hey Brian, hey Davin. I think this pretty much the three people are completely new to fantasy. I get stoked about fantasy football every year, and so does my dad, and so does Mike as well. Anyway, so let me explain to you basically the down things about fantasy. Pretty much, if you're a big sports fan, or you just want to you're kind of interested in fantasy, or you don't really watch sports too much, but you like a competition amongst friends or whatever. Fantasy is fun for people to get involved in. It's basically we're a bunch of guys from 8 to 20. We only have 8 in our league, but get together, pick a bunch of players on draft day, which is made-up draft day, put them onto their team, and go face-to-face. So it's all kind of make-believe, it's all kind of made up, hence the word fantasy. But all the stats that the players make is actually real. It's actually being done on TV. So you take the stats off of that and put it onto your team if you have that player, and it goes from there. I don't want to get too much into detail because I'll go on for hours. The draft day is going to be August 16th at about 12 o'clock noon. So you want to make sure that you're on the computer, you got everything set up, and you're good to go by 12 o'clock noon. Otherwise, the draft will pre-rank all your players for you and preset them for you, which is not a good thing. So I recommend you get on the computer, get everything set up by 11:30. Do not be late. Do not, I repeat, do not be late. It's pretty big and important. If we weren't doing it off the computer, it would be different, but we are. So yeah, and that's pretty serious for a lot of you, for everybody, for a lot of you new guys as well. That's the most important part of fantasy, right there, is draft day. Draft day is important. So get all set up. You might want to get a magazine. ESPN Fantasy Football magazine's good, and that basically kind of goes to the run-through of what players, how good they are. You get to know the players a little bit better, and it kind of gives you a ranking list from 1 to 20 of the best players. And you can kind of read up on them and stuff like that. It's a good way to go. But Fantasy Football magazine is the one that I get. It's about $7. And you only need to get one magazine. You don't need to get a subscription or anything like that. Now, when you pick a player and you play him and that player ends up getting injured during the game, it's on TV. Basically, whenever he gets injured is the points you stick with after the game. You'll have to put another player in his place for next week. If he's pretty seriously injured. So if you have a player that goes up and he, gets injured in the second quarter, that player will only get the statistics and the points up to second quarter. The rest of the half, you won't get any points off of it. So it's something you don't want to happen. Now, the only position where it's okay, and it kind of helps, it doesn't help, but there's kind of a backup for it, is quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, actually, if your quarterback gets injured, what ends up happening is whatever the second string statistics is, even though you don't, have the second string, whatever his statistics are, so whatever quarterback takes his place, whatever the points are that he earns, you end up accumulating those points as well. So when we go through fantasy, you'll notice it's not the quarterback's names, it's actually the Colts quarterback that's been selected, or a Kansas City Chiefs quarterback that's been selected. And that's because the quarterbacks are a whole quarterback unit as a whole, not the quarterbacks just in general. So it's kind of a safety there, because quarterbacks, they get hit, they take some hits. So you kind of do have a little safety with quarterbacks. But all the other players, they get hurt, you're screwed. Points basically get accumulated for everything they do on the TV. They make TDs, every yardage they make, you get points for that. And I'm going to give you guys, and I'm going to mail you the point system off this thing, so you'll get that. But the points will get accumulated. You don't add them up, the system does. So you don't have to worry about that. All the points and everything for the week, everything that's going on, all gets added up. All you do is you put the players on, and it runs itself. And you got to do that every week. But it sounds complicated, but believe me, guys, I'm going to walk you through this every step of the way, and it will not be, sorry about that, will not be complicated at all. So we'll run that through, but things should be fine. It's nothing to get too worried about. Let's see. Wins and losses, everything gets ranked up by the wins and losses. So points don't really matter. They just determine who's going to win the game and who's going to lose, because you're going to be up against whatever fantasy team you're going to be up against. So if the Bulldogs are owned by my dad, so the Bulldogs are playing me, which is the Seals, then they would go head-to-head, and if I beat him because I have more points, then I end up winning the game because I have more points than he does. So I would end up winning. And then you just, like in real life, you go through the whole 13 seasons in our league, and you, whoever has the most wins, goes to the playoffs. Now, 2 teams get knocked out before playoffs start, and 6 make it. And then there'll be a whole playoff ladder. So in playoffs, there's only one round. There's no multiple rounds. So there's one round. You lose in playoffs, you're done. You win, you move to the next rank, and so on. Divisions, there's 2 divisions in our league, and divisions basically mean a group of teams are in one division, and the next group are in the other division. There's a snake division, and there's a hawk division. Don't really matter. You're stuck on a division, you're stuck on a division. Divisions are no big deal. Nothing to worry about. They just determine what teams you're going to be playing in the playoffs and in that playoff bracket. So you want to be ahead of your division, because that's going to determine if you get in divisional playoffs, which basically means you get a bye. You get to take a breather before you get to play, which is, so you basically take a breather on a wild card. I'm trying to get all this stuff in, guys, but it's hard. I know you guys are probably like shaking your heads. What am I doing? Oh God, this is crazy. This is too much, but it's not going to be too much. Peter, we're going to be camping together, so I'm going to get you down through this stuff. We're going to be packed. I'm going to be seeing you at Dad's house. Me and Dad are going to sit you down. Brian, don't worry. You give me a call. I can handle this for you, but we're going to get you guys through this. Believe me, you'll halfway through the season, you guys are going to know this shit. Excuse me. Excuse my language. You guys are going to know this stuff down. So, no worry. Fee, $25. Pay $25, that's a fee, and everybody pays it, and then that money gets accumulated into a pot. This year it's $200, so good stuff. $200 is a fee. $25 is a fee, and then $200 is a pot in a hole with your fee. So you pay $25, pot's $200, and the winner gets the $200, and then I'm going to do a gift card as well at the end for whoever the champion is. Tips for you guys: in draft, you're gonna wanna focus on running backs. Okay, keep an eye on running backs, and quarterbacks especially, those 2, and then wide receivers as well. Tight ends, defensive players, focus on those, but like tight ends and kickers and punters. And even really head coaches in our league don't really focus on that too much until the end. And Peter, you're going to have Dad on your side, so he'll walk you through that. Brian, I'll be with you on your side if you end up coming here. But yeah, and keep an eye on my dad. He's the Bulldogs. He can trick you into crazy trades, and he will play with your mind during the season. But don't worry, I will teach you how to avoid those. Because I know what I'm doing. I hope. So yeah, guys, look forward to seeing you both. Peter, you're still not signed in yet, so if he can get signed in ASAP, that would be perfect. But yeah, take care, guys, and peace out. I'm going to drink some more Arnold Palmer's, and I will see you later.